You need to be an athlete if you want to be the healthiest version of yourself.
Yep. Welcome to the CrossFit by Design podcast. This is episode number 4. Good to see you, Brendan. How's things?
You too. Yeah, good, man.
That's
Cruising,
good. That's good.
Chilling. Nice day.
Yeah, we are outside here, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll notice that I am on the left this time, so we get my good side. I know this is really mind-blowing stuff. So
yeah, we really know how to mix things up.
Yeah. All right, so today I want to talk about something a little bit more specific to the gym, and that is Olympic lifting.
Yep.
Now, this could go down a whole lot of rabbit holes, but just to start off with, do you want to explain what the Olympic lifts are, just in general for people?
Yep. Clean and jerk, snatch.
All right, there you go. Next question.
Bang, that's it. Rapid fire.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, the Olympic lifts are the clean and jerk and the snatch, and then within that, there's a lot more to that. So basically, it's the most effective and efficient way to pick up weight, or to pick up weight and put it above your head.
Yep.
But it includes a lot of things, so like squatting, pressing, deadlifting, that kind of thing.
So what would be some of the main principles, sort of?
Well, I would say if you're looking to start Olympic lifting, after you listen to this Boss podcast and you're like, man, those guys are like, that sounds like something worth pursuing.
Indeed.
Which I highly recommend. I would say go in with, your principles should be, start with the basics. So start with, how's your squat, how's your press, how's your deadlift? Because if you can't master those, you have really no business moving into Olympic lifting. Yep. So master those being the basics, and then that'll be a foundation. And then when you move into Olympic lifting, be a coachable athlete.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to get a coach. Listen to them.
Yep.
It's a great thing, Olympic lifting, but you definitely need an element of feedback, I think.
Okay.
And a coach is great for that.
So, for people listening, why, and some people may not even have done the Olympic lifts before. Why should we care about Olympic lifting? So why should we even, consider doing them? Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're going to produce an extremely powerful adaptation as far as your body goes.
Yeah.
So, there's a reason any strength and conditioning coach at a higher level employs Olympic lifting within their program to some degree.
Yeah.
Because of, if we take the 10 general physical skills, so understanding that there's 10 general physical skills that I want to be good at in order to be fit, and the more balanced I am in breadth and depth of these skills, the fitter I am. So those being strength, flexibility, speed, power, coordination, agility, balance, accuracy, cardiovascular and respiratory endurance, and stamina.
Yeah, people listening to the podcast wouldn't even know that you've read them out.
No, I was like, I'm going to say that I wrote it down though.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stumble it, and I was like, should I just not say anything? So let's say that you accept that's true, which whether you accept it or not, it's true. So
tough luck.
Yeah, exactly. Within those 10, 8 of those can be developed with Olympic lifting. Maybe even 9 if you go a little further down the development side of things.
Yeah.
So cardiovascular and respiratory endurance, depending on what load and kind of repetitions and how you're building into the workout. Yeah. So potentially 9 of the 10 can be developed using a barbell or doing Olympic lifting. So, so you should absolutely care. As that's the development of an athlete. If me as an athlete in pursuit of health, man, that's a lot of bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Mm.
So on that point that you just mentioned then, so about being an athlete, some people may not have heard that concept before about, okay, well, I'm just your average Joe. I'm not really looking to be an athlete. I'm just looking to get fit, which I'm pretty sure everyone would agree that to some aspect they want to get fitter. Yeah. But why do we need to be an athlete in general?
You need to be an athlete if you want to be the healthiest version of yourself.
Yeah.
So if your health is on a continuum, and on the continuum you've got sickness, wellness, fitness, and Greg Glassman talks about this because it's another model that they use.
Yeah.
Like the 10 general physical skills is a model, and then this is another model, sort of within the what would you call it, methodology.
Yeah.
And you want to be an athlete because if you want to be the healthiest version of yourself, you need to be, there's an element of fitness to that. So in order for you to move along the continuum, you have to pursue being an athlete, because everything that moves the needle in the right direction is going to come from you being an athlete. Like I eat cleaner, I move well, I work on my sleep, my mobility, my recovery.
And you develop each of the 10 physical
and
skills.
Obviously, the development of the 10 general physical skills. So I'm not talking like you need to quit your job and become a professional gym goer. It's just like, no, there needs to be an element of your life that is dedicated to you being, you developing as an athlete.
And I've heard, lots of people mention that developing fitness, as you said, that continuum where you're moving away from sickness to wellness, and then you're moving away from wellness to fitness, and that's all in the same stream. That being fit creates a hedge against being sick, because if you're someone who is fit and you break your leg and you can't eat well or train for 2 months, rather than going from well back to now sick, you're going from fit to well. You're still well, so it creates like a bit of a hedge and barrier against that, which you're not going to have if you're just kind of, oh well, I don't really care about training like an athlete.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And we've had one athlete here who's gone through some pretty horrific stuff, and I won't mention his name because I don't know if he'd want me to do that. But he went through some crazy stuff. Wound up in hospital, like barely escaped with his life, and he was grateful to his pursuit of fitness, his development as an athlete. He said that saved him, saved his life. And if you got time and you are on YouTube at the moment, Miranda Oldroyd, she was in a car accident and basically broke her neck, and was walking around for ages with a broken neck. But because she was so strong through her development as an athlete, that's saved her. CrossFit saved her life. And they did a really cool video on it and talk about exactly that. Like, it's a hedge against sickness. Like, if it's on the continuum, like, this isn't helping people much for if they're just listening, but just picture a semicircle and you've got sickness on one end, and then as you go up the sort of semicircle, you've got wellness and then fitness. You want to be as far away from that sickness point as you possibly can. Because if you're nice and fit and then sickness comes along, it's not going to knock you for six that much. You'll be back to normal before you know it. And that's why, and you warned people we'd kind of go down the rabbit hole. That's why it's worth pursuing the Olympic lifts.
Okay, so on that point, so if we kind of establish, we know that training as an athlete, not necessarily for the purpose of being an athlete, but having that mindset helps develop fitness in general, which is being the healthiest version of yourself, and Olympic lifts, developing that almost better than anything else. How would then a person go about actually developing that?
Get a coach, man. Get a coach, honestly, because the Olympic lifts, they're cool. Like, they look really cool. Like, oh, I want to do that. And everybody wants to do the cool shit straight away.
Of course.
Nobody wants to do the basics. And that's where I think CrossFit's great. It's like, you want to pursue virtuosity. Like, virtuosity in gymnastics and in CrossFit is doing the common uncommonly well. So it's like, don't try and go do all this sexy stuff on the end here. Come back, like we talked about at the start. Hey, can you even do an air squat? Like, let's not worry about controlling a barbell. See if you can control yourself through space first, and then worry about the barbell. And a coach will help you. Like, any good coach will help you out with that. They will bring you in. The last thing they're going to do is put a barbell in your hand.
And I think any good coach, not any coach.
Any good coach, correct. The first thing, if you are good enough at moving yourself through space, the first thing they'll put in your hand is a stick or a PVC pipe. And then you'll kind of build up from there. But it's a long road, but it's well worth it. It's definitely worth it.
So starting at the basics is getting a coach, and starting at the basics is the first point.
Correct.
So why can't I just go grab a barbell, chuck some weights on, and take it for a spin?
Well, so much comes to mind when you say that. Please don't do that. Safety is the biggest thing. So that's where Olympic lifting can get a bad name. Oh, I hurt myself Olympic lifting. Well, you weren't Olympic lifting. You're doing some crazy thing that you invented, swinging the barbell out, lifting with your back with all you could. Like, a coach will teach you how to lift correctly, how to recruit the right muscles at the right time in the right
Yeah.
sequence
Yeah.
safely. Like, you want to learn how to do these lifts safely. I want to Olympic lift now so I can Olympic lift when I'm 90 years old. I don't want to try and give it everything I can, put my back into it so I can try and get a 100 kilo snatch, and then my Olympic lifting career is over. It's like, no, I want to develop for a long time.
Yeah. So it seems like there's a fair amount of work involved in developing through the basics to achieve, I guess, the kind of desired results. Like I'm sure there's benefit in, doing snatches with a stick, but that's probably not going to elicit the same kind of stimulus as doing it with 100 kilos. So what if someone's of the mindset, look, I haven't got that much time, and I don't want to, maybe they're not willing to put in the time and effort to get past that technique, or they don't have the time to just work on the technique, and they just want to, I just want to get there quickly and get the results, and they don't want to spend the time to go through the technique and the basics to get there. What would you say to someone like that?
That's the wrong sport for you, man. Yeah, like, honestly, not to... Yeah, if you don't have the patience, then I would say maybe don't. If you're happy not reaching your athletic potential, then okay, power to you. But maybe you just don't make it the entirety of your program. So if you accept that I want to get better at the Olympic lifts, okay, well, that's where, and shameless plug here, that's where CrossFit is great, because you're not always doing Olympic lifts. Like, we're in pursuit of like the 10 general physical skills, and along the way we try and pick up Olympic lifts, but we're not just drilling them all the time, and you're getting frustrated with, I can't do this, so what's the point? It's like, there's always something else to do. But as a whole, if you don't want to bar them because you can't throw, 70, 100 kilos straight away, then, the safest thing you can do is stay away from them.
Okay, so on that point then, sort of playing devil's advocate a little bit here,
okay.
If let's say I'm not interested, as I said, in becoming an athlete, but I do accept that I want to train in a sense like an athlete to obtain a greater level of fitness. So I'm not interested in snatching 100 kilos, but I still want to get the benefits of, still getting some weight lifted with the Olympic lifts. But, I'm not coming in with extra class. I'm not coming in and doing the 1 hour extra technique drills to get better at the Olympic lifting. I just want to come in, get the results from Olympic lifting just so that I can better my fitness. Would your answer be any different to that person? Because, and the reason I say that is, let's say, someone has an argument where they'll say, look, I want to kind of, get 40, 50 kilos on my clean and jerk and then just kind of throw it around. My technique's not the best, but I'm still able to, get a good workout in and do that. And I'm not really killing myself doing it. Would there be a trade-off or a compromise where, look, we're not going to worry about the technique so much. We're just going to kind of get you through so we can get you lifting some decent weight and then have the results from that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, not in my opinion. No.
Okay.
I mean, it's not worth it, is it?
Okay. In what ways wouldn't it be worth it?
Well, because it's like, okay, within that day, you got a good workout in, but the potential for injury and like long-term problems it's so great. Like, why risk that?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, like, you just have to be patient.
Yeah.
And not everybody wants to do it. Like, we have people come in here and they're like, oh, it's just too much. Like, I don't want to learn it. It's like, all right, man, well, maybe it's not for you. Because there's plenty of other things we can do. Like, you come in, you want to snatch. I, as your coach, know that, like, okay, maybe it needs a little bit of work. Okay, Tom, how about today we just practice the overhead squat? I like where your overhead squat's at. That'll allow you to shift a little bit of weight. And you can walk away feeling like you got a good workout in, and I know that you've moved safely the whole time. So, the answer is it depends. Like, the direct answer to your question is it worth, like, compromising to get a good workout in? Absolutely not. But if you're working with a coach, then they can sort of help you along your way. Like, well, I know Tom needs to develop this position and he's reasonably safe in it, so I like that for him. And then you can still get an element of the Olympic lifting training in while sort of, fulfilling your ego, I suppose.
And I think another thing that I know I've heard you say a lot of times is, even if you were working on a position or a movement that is relatively okay, unless you develop the foundations and the basics of that movement or that principle itself, then you're never going to get a greater result. So if I'm doing the Olympic lifts and I'm at a certain level where my technique's not the best, but I can still kind of throw some weight around, you're never going to get better unless you focus more on developing the basics. So I guess in the long game, if you want to get fitter, then you will need to get more weight or stimulus from the Olympic lift, and that is achieved by actually developing the basics in the first place.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it all takes time. Like Louis Simmons, somebody asked him one day, like, how do you get strong? And his answer was time. It takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then how big is a pyramid? Like, how tall is a pyramid? It's as tall as its base.
Yeah.
So you've got to spend the time and build your base, like you were just talking about then. Like, build the base, build your foundations, start to move well, and then your pyramid will be extremely tall. But if you don't, if you try and rush the beginning, like we were talking about earlier, and you just want to, I just want to lift 50 kilos now, it's like, well, your base is only this big. So your max is only ever going to be 50 kilos because you never took the time to develop when you were like newer to the game. And it's never too late to sort of take a step back and rebuild. But yeah, it takes time, and you just got to build that base, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. I reckon that's about it. Thank you.
Sweet dog.
No worries. See you later.
See ya.